One of these children, a small dark little girl of indeterminate age, rode inconspicuously among the princess's maids of honour. She was much younger than the others, a thin child among nubile and handsome young women, and she must have felt out of place and awkward in their company. Her awkwardness came as much from her appearance as from her age, for Anne was afflicted with embarrassing disfigurements which made her hide her head and hands when anyone looked too closely at her. A large mole grew out of her neck, a mark too prominent to be hidden by her thick black hair. On one hand, a sixth finger had begun to grow, and there was a double nail and an excess bulge of flesh. Such bodily marks, conspicuous enough in themselves, stood out even more conspicuously in an age when the extraordinary was always thought to be significant. Ignorant people might take the rudimentary extra finger to be a mark of the devil. To a more worldly observer, such as Anne's father, her blemishes were less diabolical than simply unlucky, for they were likely to lessen her value when she reached an age to marry. As far as we know, Anne's sister Mary had no such disadvantages. Mary was older than Anne, sensual and precociously attractive. Her appointment as maid of honour to the princess was the second such post she'd held. She had spent a year in Brussels in the household of Margaret of Savoy, regent of the Netherlands, and her enviable status as a veteran of life abroad must have made her seem infinitely poised and sophisticated to her younger sister. Compared to Mary, Anne was plain and unpromising, the sort of child a less ambitious father would have sent to a convent to live her life as a nun. Convents were full of well-born girls with crippled limbs or addled brains or ugly faces, and Anne, with her flaws and unfortunate colouring, was a candidate for a life of genteel obscurity as a religious. If only her hair had been golden like the Princess Mary's, or rich auburn like the Queen's, instead of black and impossibly thick. If only her skin had been fair and rosy, instead of dark and sallow like a gypsy's. If only her eyes had been the sweet, light-filled blue of religious paintings, instead of piercing jet black, there might have been hope for her. Yet as she was, Thomas Boleyn was determined to make a cultured French gentlewoman of her, and if she had to be eclipsed by her better-endowed sister, then so be it. He would make the most of the little that Anne had to offer none the less. Probably Thomas Boleyn gave no thought whatever to either of his daughters as he rode along, sleek and prideful, beside the other gentlemen of the court. He was a handsome, shrewd man in his late 30s, with a hunger for wealth and advancement that his considerable success at court had done nothing to assuage. In the next few days, he would take up his most important assignment to date, as ambassador to France, and his thoughts were fixed on the details of his embassy rather than on the welfare of his children.